Nathan Burnley fan says, well, I never thought I'd see Estev on a hat-trick at the Etihad. Welcome back to Clarets Walk. Hope you are well. We are, of course, trying to recover from our latest battering by Manchester City. Hope you can stay with us. However, we're also going to talk about the cup exit to Cardiff, and we're a little bit worried about what we've signed in Broja. We'll get our panel thoughts on that in a minute. We're looking a bit defensively awful at the moment. Why is that? And just why are the promoted sides doing so well? Welcome back. We're starting at the end of the video, of course. Stay around for it. We're starting a new feature this week, which is the A to Z of Burnley FC. And if you are choosing somebody in the history of this great club to put in for the letter A, who would that be? Dan, Jordan and Connor have their thoughts on that, of course, in a second. AI came up with this fella, which we'll talk about more at the end of the video. But let's get straight into, our main topic for debate this week then. I'm not going to focus too much on the Man City result, Dan. I mean, what did we learn from it? Other than I'd taken Esteve out of my fantasy team?
I think you're being a bit harsh on Estev there. He had a bad game. Let's not get it wrong. You know, he was due one. He hadn't had a bad game in about 18 months, but he did. I know people say I'm jumping on the bandwagon because he scored 2 own goals, but aside from that, it was just he weren't on his own in having a bad game, but he did. He clattered into his own player for their 5th. He loses Haaland for their 3rd, or 2nd. Sorry. I think it's one of those. For 60, 70 minutes we were doing all right, but then just the wheels came off. The first one's unavoidable. If he doesn't get it, then what's he called? Their midfielder slots it home. Foden. But then on the second one, it's already gone past their defender, their attacker. Sorry. So if he misses it, it falls to Ekdal and it goes away. But in saying that he's at full sprint and then he knocks it in. So, it's a bit... We always concede 5 at City. Everyone knows this. Everyone's put down 5-0. We scored 1. So don't worry about it. It was the greatest day. We've done it. We've scored a goal. It was just a bad day. Our season's not defined by this.
We move on. Yeah, absolutely. Although we do like this. Man City lad said Esteve has now scored more Premier League goals than Sesko. Absolutely brilliant. Okay, one little bit though criticism. Connor, Victorious MCI says we should have parked the bus after the equalising goal. Going toe to toe with Man City wasn't smart from Parker. Thoughts on that?
It's confusing because against Man United, everyone complained we brought it back to 2-2 and he parked the bus. So it's kind of, I understand Man United aren't on the same level as Man City, but it's like he can't win either way, can he? Listen, we went for it, and I thought at some points after we equalised, we looked all right for the 5 minutes before we conceded next. But no, I'm not too bothered because it's happened now, and we were never going to get a result anyways. We were never getting anything.
Okay. We'll wrap up this game in a second, but first, John, we've got to talk about the defending. That's not the one I wanted. No, that's not the one I wanted. Oh, there we go. That's the one I wanted. Penal Clarets is absolutely pathetic defending on display today. Look, it's against the, 5-time Premier League champions and possibly to become the next one as well. But was that as shambolic as you've seen it in Parker's era?
No, I don't think it's fair because for 60 minutes of that game we defended brilliantly. I think the heads dropped personally. I think that second went in, and it's almost like the lads knew it were game over. I wouldn't say it was poor defending on a whole. I'd say it was lack of belief in themselves. It's one of them, and you pull 1-1 at the Etihad being a Burnley fan, and that's like Dan said, it's the best day on earth. I think they got a little bit too in over their heads. Again, just referring back to when they went toe to toe with him. Well, if he'd have parked the bus, he'd have got grief anyway. You can't really win. And I also think it's so harsh on Esteve. He's been brilliant for us, but he's going to learn from this. And like I said to Dan on Twitter yesterday, I said, it's the way he finished the game that impressed me. He didn't sulk, he didn't go into a little shell. He was still throwing himself at everything. So I think to just straight away go, it's awful defending. Please remember it's Man City, and they can do that to any team in the Premier League on the day.
Very, very true. So, keep him in my fantasy team then, Dan? Or I mean, I've put him in on your recommendations, of course, for the last 12 months. Hearing you shout Steve at the end of every video.
Steve. No, sure. Yeah, sure. Keep him in. He'll have, he's been, I don't know how long he's been at our team for.
He was
now. He's
cheap,
probably
so
been about.
that's what he's
Yeah, he's cheap. He's 4.5 million, I think he is.
Yeah.
But he is a remarkable player. He had an off day against a phenomenal team. I thought Doku, their left winger, was phenomenal. I thought, you're up against Haaland. People, when he scores 20 goals in a season, people say he's having a bad season. Let's not forget the caliber of player he's up against, mixed in with the fact he had an off day. Don't worry about it. Put him in for next week, and we've got Villa. It'll be fine.
There we go.
Okay. Right then. People are looking at Burnley in the table, Jordan, and going, "Oh, they're going to be in trouble." But let's face it, we've got to really look at the fixtures that you've played. I mean, John summed it up here. I'll read what John said. That's us over the hump. Look forward to us accumulating points from here on in. I think at the start of the season, we all said that the fixture list for Burnley was far more difficult than Sunderland and Leeds were facing. Is that how you kind of see it now? You've got to this point. You've got 4 points, or it is, and you've played some of the more difficult fixtures that you probably would have expected to have in the opening 19 anyway.
Well, just look at the quality that we've played. Several of them teams that we've played and given a good account of ourselves. Maybe Bar City had 60 minutes in, weren't brilliant. But every other team, we've such a good account of ourselves for teams that can go and win the Champions League. So I'd say, yeah, we've had the hardest start out of us, Sunderland and Leeds, in my personal opinion. I think when the likes of, maybe not Sunderland, because they're giving a really good account of themselves, but somebody like Leeds, put in our position against Liverpool, against City, maybe one of the defenders is having an off day, they'll be punished and heavily punished. Our team has a bit more experience in it to understand how to try and get out of moments like that. Maybe it failed us on Saturday. But yeah, we've had the hardest run out of anyone, in my personal opinion. I think the only team that we haven't played that frightens me is Arsenal. But everyone else we've played, City, Liverpool, United had a good day when they played us. Regardless of it, they still had a good day with a lot of danger on the pitch. So yeah, we're over these bits. Let's focus on the games that that we know we can come out of something with, and anything else against Liverpool and City, we're really wishful thinking. So I don't think you can come away mad from them, because what did you expect?
I mean, you are in the bottom three now, Connor. I mean, that's there's no escaping that. I mean, West Ham and Wolves are the other two that occupy the bottom three, who have both just changed. Well, West Ham have changed their manager. Wolves potentially will do as well. Scott Parker's in absolute no danger of losing his job. Is he at all, given the start you've made?
No, and if you were to ask me, and we went on a horrific, I know it's not been the best run anyways, and we've been crap every game, we've lost every game 4 or 5-0, then I'd obviously look at that and go, yeah. But we've been highly unlucky. I think we must be out of relegation if we had the point against United and Liverpool. So it's fine margins in the Premier League, and it's still early days, so I'm not worried at all. He's not worried about him either.
Okay. Right then, Dan. So October has Aston Villa away, old friends Leeds at home, and then is it Wolves away? I think to finish the season off. So that's 3 much more winnable fixtures, isn't it?
This is where everything changes now. This is where it happens. You've got to have that patience. You've got to stay with them. And, we've had a rough ride. And like Connor's just said, and like Jordan's just said, we've gone through arguably the worst set of fixtures we've ever had. And, many, many years ago, in the past, these have been hammerings every week. Now, in all City, yeah, okay, City away, we lose that handsomely. But like we said, 60, 70 minutes in, we were there or thereabouts. Whereas in the past, it's just been completely relentless. Now we've got teams in and around us. They've still got, Villa have still got midweek Europe, so you've got to take that into account as well. Leeds obviously don't. Wolves don't, but they are going through a rough patch. Leeds, they only scored 1 in the first 4 games, and that were against you boys from a dodgy penalty when Tarkowski falls on the floor. So I know they've gathered a bit recently. So I think, now people have said these games don't define us. Well, these next 4 games will define us. And this is where our season is. if we're sitting here in 5 weeks' time and we've still on 4 points, I think we've all got to turn around and say it might not happen this year. However, I think if these next few games we start picking up points, a point at Villa, 3 at home against Leeds, and we'll probably beat Wolves. That's 7 points. All of a sudden, you're mid-table. You can pray a bit that we might stay up, but then you start thinking, actually, no, we're going for Europe. No, I'm only joking, but you know what I mean? I think now is the time. This is a litmus test. This is where we're going for.
Yeah, because it's the same number of points as what Vincent Kompany had at this point as well. Some fans are pointing out as well, but maybe we won't get into that debate just yet.
But he played, the dog and duck and everybody else. We've played City away, Liverpool at home.
Fair point. Right, I'm going to enjoy this next chat because we're going to talk about Armando Broja following the Carabao Cup defeat to Cardiff City. Now, you may have noticed that Jordan for the last couple of weeks has had Broja as the GOAT as part of his tagline, which is, do you want to apologise to
everyone,
Jordan, for the
I feel like
I've been telling you that he is garbage?
I feel like
you could just say, Mark, you were right now.
No, I won't be hands up. I'm not one of them kind of fans. When you're right, you're right. You are right, Mark. I think he's. I nearly swore there. I don't think he's very good. I think he's a little bit lacklustre. He doesn't look interested, in my opinion. And I keep hearing this. Well, the boy's got the talent. Well, do it then. If you've got the talent, do it. Because if you have the talent and you're looking that poor, then to me, that's just somebody who just doesn't want to be involved. Yeah. I keep hearing all these things about him. When we signed him, I thought, well, that's a brilliant signing. Get him under Parker, you know what I mean? Bit of stability, a bit of philosophy, and maybe he'll start, moving mountains. A bit of a spanner will thrown. It worked from Foster because he just came out the absolute, he came out the absolute doors at the start of the season. But no, Broja, he's boring to watch. Yeah, he's a side pass and a bloody slip up. That's all he is. And I haven't seen him do anything else.
Yeah, I was frustrated as many Evertoners watched him last season. He don't run. He just waits for the ball to come to him. Connor Jordan says, starting to worry about the money we spent on Broja. Obviously needs to be given a lot more time. But he seems just to lack a lot of the basics you'd assume a striker who'd been at Chelsea's books would have. Do you agree?
Oh, yeah, 1,000%.
Oh, wait.
Sorry, Connor. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, mate. I do apologise.
It's frustrating because I'm one of them people that I try to find the positives out of every player. I don't know where to go with Broja. I thought against Cardiff, I said it to these lot. I said he turned out of a couple of tight spaces and he got 1 or 2 shots off. Those shots were awful. I think give him time, but he's not. I don't know, and he's not really had a chance in the Premier League, has he? Really, he's only had a couple of cup games and about 3 combined minutes in the Premier League. But I don't know. Are you
surprised? Are you surprised?
No comment. No comment.
It's sad to see. It really is.
Broja might be a worse signing than Trezor.
That's not fair.
Trade says. Dan and Ben says Broja's defo won a competition based on about that. Dan, look, how bad was it on Wednesday, Tuesday night, whenever it was?
Oh, it was terrible. You've got to remember this is Cardiff. They're in League One, right? And he is apparently a £20-odd million striker who is ready-made for the Premier League. It's easy to get on his back. I get that. Because he's not had many games, he's not match fit, what have you, but he should be putting these teams to the sword. He looks so lazy, so passive. He's just not got that energy. He's not got that get up and go about him. If he has got get up and go, it got up and went a long time ago. And then against City, he comes on for like 10, 15 minutes. The ball drops to him. Now, I've seen it from a different angle. I've probably been a bit harsh, but you just think, swing a foot at it, pal. Just knock it in. And he doesn't. It just kind of blows past him, and then he kind of tries to regain his composure and send it back. But everybody tells me he's brilliant, apart from
all these people that are telling you he's brilliant. Because
if you listen to any commentator, go back and listen to the commentary against City, right?
That's what I'm about.
Listen to he said, "Oh, he's got so much potential. This lad, he's been passing here, there, everywhere. And he's great. He's brilliant." I'm giving it. He's not. He's dog shit. But sorry for swearing. You'll bleep that out.
That's fine.
But the sad thing of it all is to see the decline between him and Jordan's relationship. You know what they say, love ain't here anymore. It's gone. It's buggered off, hasn't it? So, yeah, he's just... If he has about 10 minutes cameo against City, you can't judge him on. But he had about 80 minutes against Cardiff, and he did the square root of nothing. So, yeah, unless something dramatic changes, I can't see it.
Okay. Jordan, I'll let you have the last word on this.
Oh, I mean, sell him now while he's got a bit of value, maybe. I don't know.
Right. The start that the three promoted teams have made to the Premier League has been the best, second best ever, according to statistics. Connor, what do you put that down to? I include obviously yourselves in this. Sunderland and Leeds, and your points total are higher than any other year bar one. Is that because the gap is closer, or is that because we've got better at buying players?
I think recruitment. You look at Sunderland's recruitment, you look at ours. Not necessarily Leeds. I can't say I've been totally impressed by Leeds really, in terms of the transfer window and their business. I think it comes down to we've looked stronger in the Championship and we've come up as a stronger team, and that includes Sunderland and Leeds. I think Leeds had one more year in the Championship and had the best squad in the league, and Sunderland, they just had money, didn't they? They just threw money at it, so they don't really count. But us, we had a good squad as well. So I think it's down to how strong we have looked coming up and our business, bar Leeds.
I want to ask you just your opinions on this, all of you as well. I mean, down in the Championship, we're discussing at the moment that the playoffs are going to be expanded to 8 teams going forward. I mean, you imagine that the 8th place team in the Championship could be joining you in the Premier League next, in a couple of seasons. I mean, it's madness, isn't it?
It's absolutely crackers, right? And it genuinely is crackers, because when you get down to the playoffs, last year, look at the last season's table, right? Leeds were, and us were about 8 points clear of Sheffield United, who were themselves were then 20 odd points clear. I think we were something like 20 odd, 30 points clear of 6th place. It was a big gap. My figures are wrong. Someone will correct me, I'm sure. But it was a big gap. And then you go down to 8th. Okay, there wasn't much more down to 8th, but there was still a big gap. So you're trying to bridge the gap to the Premier League. And we're trying, and you've just pointed out, then you and Connor have just both said then that this season is the closest we've ever been. It's the biggest points total after 6 games. And this is what we're trying to achieve. We're trying to bridge that gap. But if, with the greatest of respect, Preston went up last season, they're getting hammered every single day. It's going to be 8-0, 8-0, 8-0. Because once you turn it into a playoff, it's a cup competition. And, every now and then, one team can shine when they shouldn't really. And it becomes a one-off game. So I just think it's ridiculous to expand it. It's been the way it has been for so long. Everyone says the playoffs are the most exciting thing in football. Why then expand it and give a no-hope team half a chance of getting into the next level where they're just going to get blattered every week? I personally am against it. I don't know if you could tell by my tone, but I know people will say, "Oh, make it exciting, elongate the season." It's money making, so people will watch telly and they can sell more tickets. It's absolute nonsense. Give over.
No, it's because somebody who works for Blackburn is on the board, actually, and because they can only
ever finish
a 7 for an 8, they get him in there.
You mentioned Preston. Weirdly, this week, Jordan, the Osmajevic hearing is going to report on its findings. What should happen? We're hearing that he is likely to have been found guilty of racism, for example. What should happen as a result?
I think everybody who also banged him up and down and thought it was funny when he did his celebration. He should get more for that celebration, because if he knows he said it and he's found guilty, he's done that with intention. Every single person that's defended him on Twitter, I've said to him, look, if you don't know and I don't know, just shut up about it until you do know, and then say, oh, well, why are you making stuff up? This needs to be, he needs making an example of. He's a horrible man. He bites people. He racially abuses people. He has no place in football. He's a disgusting little man. I have no time for this guy, and I have no time for any of them Preston fans that defended him, because it's wrong. Because if it was one of our boys, I'd just keep my mouth shut until it all came out. And then if he had said what he had, what he's allegedly said, and that was proven, they can go from my club, because that's not what it is. It's a community. Football is about bringing people together. Creed, colour, anything, religion, anything. Football, we forget all that. We put that ball on that grass and we all kick about and we all let our fears, and the day go away for a little bit. The second you start bringing that into football, you turn it into something which it isn't. It makes it political, and that's not what football is. Throw the bucket in.
Yeah, I think they are ready for a big, lengthy ban to be announced Tuesday or Wednesday of this week. It's taken a long time, though, hasn't it? I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Forever, hasn't it?
They've actually had speech. What do you call them? People who watch
lip readers.
Lip readers. Lip readers.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Let's end then on a little bit more lighter tone. The 80s of Burnley we're launching this week then, and we're looking for all the people connected to the club, managers, players, owners, even buildings and away trips that we've had. What needs to go in this encyclopedia? A is for, and we asked AI earlier, as mentioned, and yeah, they came up with probably a player Connor doubting that you'll have watched. In Jimmy Anderson. Now, people in the comments can help a little bit with this as well. Who should be there for A? Connor, did you have any thoughts?
I've got a list of 5 here. Let's figure out which one I want to say. We're going to bar out Jaden Anthony because that's too easy.
You've just taken Jordan's there.
No, you haven't. No, you haven't.
We'll go for, because he's one of my favourite players, Scott Arfield. He comes in and as an unknown man. He didn't do anything at Huddersfield, did he? Comes in, scores that goal against Blackburn, which I don't think I even need to explain to anybody. I think he was a good servant to us. And yeah, that's Scott Arfield for me.
Okay. Decent shot. Dan?
I'm going to go for a more recent legend. I don't know, Jimmy Adamson, what have you. There's a litany of people who could be. But he got his own song. He was only there for a season. But Anas Zeruri runs down the wing for me. And I'll put him in.
You might have to go in as Z, but okay.
Anas. Anas.
Right.
For Anas.
Surnames. Jordan.
I had some good thinking about this, right? And I found a player that embodies A, right? And I don't know if Connor, you'll remember this. I know Dan will, but we used to have a player called Andre BK who scored a brilliant goal and did a backflip, but then changed his name to Andre Anamugu or something like that. So it's AA. So the simple fact that he changed his name mid-season to AA, put him in at A, and he did a backflip once he'd scored a goal. I just thought that really worked.
Yeah, can we put any of these in above Jimmy Anderson? I'm not sure we can.
No.
Yeah.
I think we can put Anas Saruri in just purely because it starts and comes into the exact frame that you wanted.
I'm doubling up with Connor. Man, we're awful. I'm doubling up with you, Connor. Go for Scotty Arfield. Get him in.
We'll go
Jimmy Adamson, though. I think you'll get a load of grief on comments saying, I was born in 1843, and I think Jimmy Adamson's the best man in the world. So
absolutely, we may have to go with that. Right, let us know in the comments. Also, we're looking for B, of course, for next week. So get ready. It's surnames only, Dan. Okay, yeah.
Ashley.
Right. Thanks so much, you three. Enjoy Aston Villa. We'll catch you after that game next week. See you then.